round 61, we're going to continue right where we left off with color E. On the pattern it states that the pictures were done using color B, but then decided that color E was a little nicer finish, so that's the color we are going to use. The first part of this round is fairly straightforward. We'll be doing a lot of single crochets around the straight edge, and then we will once again work on the diagonal on the corner. So we're going to slip stitch to the next stitch. So this is the second stitch past that slip stitch, chain 3 slip stitch. Chain 1, and this is counting as our first single crochet. Then we will single crochet in the next 11 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. That should bring us to this chain 1 space that we made last round. Single crochet in the chain 1 space and the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll do that 3 more times. Single crochet in the chain 1 space and in the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the chain 1 space and 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the chain 1 space and the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we will single crochet in the next 22 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 20, 21, and 22. Which should take us to the next chain 1 space. So we'll single crochet in the chain 1 space and the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the chain 1 space again and the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The chain 1 space and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next chain 1 space, single crochet in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in the next 8 we will single crochet as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So a long line of single crochets. So after that last single crochet, we will chain 2. This takes us to the corner, so we'll begin working across there again. We're going to start by working in this diagonal line to the right of that chain 3 space that sticks up a bit. So we will single crochet in that first chain 3 space, and do that side closing picot. So chain 3 and into the side edges of the post and complete a single crochet in there. Chain 1, I'll do that one more time, single crochet, chain 3, and side closing on that side post, complete a single crochet. Chain 1, we will do it one more time, an S picot in that last chain 2 space. So chain 3, oops, side closing, and chain 1. So we finished these 3 picots coming down the side towards those ruffle stitches. We're going to mark our stitches that we want to work into the next several stitches. As you can see, I've already marked them. I'll just help you to see where they are. So if you make sure your stitch markers are handy. After those 3 side picot, we want to work into round 55, which is my yellow round. And we're going to put a stitch where we already have this front post slip stitch. So beside those ruffle stitches, the next stitch over, we placed a front post slip stitch. We're going to work into that stitch. Then on round 54, we want this first double crochet that's just past this shell. Round 53 is the first double crochet past the chain 2 space. And round 52, the first double crochet past that chain 3 space. Then down to round 51, we did a set of 4 half double crochet. We're going to work that first double crochet just past that group of 4. And then into round 50, we had this larger set of the 5 tip puff clusters. We are going to work around that front post single crochet that we did in that first tip puff. Okay, so if you've got your markers placed, we'll work these next few stitches together. So in that round 55 stitch, we want to do that single crochet side picot again. So insert your hook around that stitch, make the single crochet, chain 3, 2, 3. I'm going to remove my stitch marker to show you that side post single crochet to finish that picot, and chain 1. Okay, then into that next marked stitch on round 54, single crochet, chain 3, side finishing picot, and chain 1 again. Then round 53, that first double crochet after the chain 2 space, we will do another single crochet, chain 3, and side finish picot, chain 1, down round 52, just after that chain 3 space, in that marked double crochet, we will do our side picot, 1, 2, 3, and chain 1, and round 51, just after that group of 4 half double crochet, we will do that picot, that chain 3 with that side finish, chain 1, and then around this front post single crochet at the top of that first tip puff stitch, we will do single crochet, chain 3. So the single crochet was kind of like a front post on that one as well, around that front post single. Okay, so we had our 3 picots coming down the side there, and then beside those ruffle stitches we made one in the next stitch, and we curved around, so you can see how we are starting to form the butterfly coming around the bottom side. Now we're going to start working up the middle and towards the first antenna. So we are going to go around each of the next 2 tip puff stitches. Then if you want to get your markers again, we will mark in round 51 in that chain 2 space between the double crochets of round 52. And then we're going to mark on round 59 that slip stitch that went into that middle between the double crochets. Then round 54, the last double crochet before that chain 2 space we can mark. Round 55, the last double crochet before the chain 2 space, and round 56 will be the third last double crochet before that chain 2 space, and then in round 57 the 5th double crochet, 1 2 3 4 5. So if you have those stitches all marked, we'll come back here to the bottom of our butterfly. We have worked that picot in that first tip puff with the chain 1. So around the front post single crochet of the next tip puff stitch, we will do that side picot, chain 1, and around the front post single crochet of that middle tip puff stitch, 1 2 3 to chain, and finish it off with the single crochet in the side, chain 2. Okay, and then the first marked stitch in that corner space, we'll make a slip stitch, chain 2, and then slip stitch into that corner slip stitch. Just move my marker to get that one. And chain 2. Okay, and then we want to make sure that we keep those chains nice and loose and our slip stitches, because we need to work back into them. So we want to keep them nice and loose. So around that first marked stitch, we'll make a slip stitch, chain 2, around the second marked stitch, another slip stitch, chain 2, and around that next marked stitch for a slip stitch, chain 2, and around that final marked stitch for a slip stitch, but this time do not chain. We're going to work into the top of that double crochet that we just slip stitched around. So we can see how we already have this double crochet from round 58 in the top of that stitch. So we're just going to work to the right of that stitch in the top loops of our stitch. So I like to have my yarn over there in the top loops, to slip stitch, then chain 1. Turn our work, so we're working back down these slip stitches and chains. We will skip that last chain 1 and the slip stitch, insert into that next slip stitch, back loop only for another slip stitch. The loop was a bit large on that one. So back loop only, slip stitch after we skipped the chain 1 and the first slip stitch. We're going to do 10 slip stitches, so working into the chain stitches as well. Grab that back loop for a slip stitch, that's 2, and the next chain makes 3. Then we will do that back loop only of the next slip stitch. Mine's a little tight. Grab it with my hook. Nope. There we go. So that's 4, the 2 chains, 5 and 6, the next slip stitch, 7, and then those 2 chains, 8 and 9, and in the final slip stitch that we made in round 54 is our 10 back loop only slip stitches. We're going to repeat that on the other side of the corner chain 2 spaces, a mirror image of what we just did. So I'll remove these stitch markers and we'll place them on the other side of the corner. Okay, so the first one we'll do, I'm not going to mark mine, is this first double crochet on the other side of the chain 2 space in round 54. Then the first double crochet of round 55 past that chain 2 corner. And then round 56 is the third double crochet from the corner. And round 55, 1, 2, 3, 4 in that fifth double crochet from the corner chain 2. So the loop back on, we do not chain after that last back loop slip stitch. We'll do the slip stitch around round 54, chain 2, 1, 2, slip stitch around 55, chain 2, round 56 marked stitch, that worked better, chain 2, and round 57 marked stitch for that slip stitch, remembering not to chain, and we'll work in the top of that stitch again, this time on the left of the double crochet that's already in the top of that stitch. Complete our slip stitch and chain 1. Then we'll turn again to work back down those stitches. So we'll skip the chain 1 and the first slip stitch. Then in back loops only, 1 slip stitch, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then into that slip stitch and round 54 for our 10 back loop only slip stitches. Let's take these markers out. So our 2 butterfly antennae are complete. We'll continue to work down the center of the butterfly. So without a chain, we'll work into that chain 2 space and make 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. 3 single crochet in the next chain 2 space. 1, 2, 3. And 3 single crochet in that last chain 2 space. 1, 2, and 3. Which takes us to that middle tip puff stitch again, and we're going to work another single crochet or that side picot just underneath the one that we already placed there. So we'll insert our hook around that front post single crochet for a single crochet, chain 3, a side finish, chain 1, and we'll do that around the next 2 tip puff stitches as well, or the front post single crochet around the tip puff. So single crochet, chain 3, side finish, chain 1, and the last front post single on that last tip puff, single crochet, chain 3, side finish, chain 1. So that's the bottom edge of our butterfly. Now we're going to do our final side, working up the final side for our butterfly. So again, we can mark our stitches. So on round 51, it's that double crochet that's in front of the group of 4 half double crochet. Round 52, the double crochet just before the chain 3 space we mark. Round 53, the last double crochet before that chain 2 space. Round 54, the last double crochet before the group of 5 treble shells. And then around that same stitch where we have that front post slip stitch in round 55. Okay, so I find it easier if I turn my work sideways here. So working in that first skipped stitch or first marked stitch, we'll make our picot. Chain 1. And the next marked stitch, 1, 2, 3, side finish, chain 1, and the next marked stitch, 1, 2, 3, side finish, chain 1, and that last marked stitch, 1, 2, 3, side finish, chain 1, so now we should be ready for that last marked stitch where we already have a front post slip stitch, we'll make single crochet, chain 3, side finish, chain 1, and ready to work our last few picot in these chain 2 spaces of round 59. So single crochet, chain 3, side finish, chain 1, single crochet, chain 3, side finish, chain 1, and in the last chain 2 space, single crochet, chain 3, side finish, this time chain 2, and skip the slip stitch. Now we're back on the current round, we leave the corner and work to the left beside that slip stitch, chain 3. We're going to skip the first stitch, the first half double crochet after that chain 3, skip that first stitch and work the next stitch, and that's a single crochet for 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you can go ahead and work your way around, completing all 4 sides of that. On the 4th side, the final side, we started with those 12 single crochet, so you can omit that part when you get to the 4th side, as that will already be finished. So take a look and enjoy the pretty butterfly that has emerged from all our hard work. See you back at the end of this round. So how did you do? Did you find with each butterfly it got a little bit easier? Hoping that you're not too worn out, we'll just finish up this side quick. I have my last picot to complete. So my chain 3 there with the side finish and a chain 2. Remember, on this last side we had already done those 12 single crochet at the beginning. So we're ready to join to that first single crochet, which at our start was that chain 1. So we want to make sure we work into that chain 1, which was the first single crochet, to slip stitch and fasten off. Time to sit back and enjoy our hard work as we watch these butterflies.